don't watch anime without learning Japanese. Now, as a man who's been urging people to watch anime since I was a little gaki in Japan, I'm happy to see anime getting popular around the world. But if you want to be able to speak the language of anime like Lloyd or Yoru, here are 5 major scenes from Spy Family to master Japanese and speak like a koroshiya. First, let's do Anya rapid fire.
Anya. Wak wak.
Wak wak is an onomatopoeia in Japanese that means you're looking forward to something and can't sit still. It's kind of similar to doki doki, but doki doki means your heart is pounding like a doki doki. Next. So chikyu no owari, chikyu means earth. No is a possessive particle. Owari means the end. So chikyu no owari means the earth is over. Donmai is actually a really popular phrase in Japan that Japanese people use all the time. And most Japanese people might not even know that it's actually from English, don't mind. But somehow from don't mind, we got donmai. Japanglish at its finest. So Anya is basically saying, chichi, don't think about it. Second, the Thorn Queen herself. So she actually says, Anya-san wo sarao to suru mono wa yurushimasen. First here you can see that Yoru called Anya Anya-san. And san is typically used as an honorific to show respect. So Yoru is definitely a polite person, so she calls Anya-san. But obviously that's kind of weird because if you were actually a mother of your child, you know, if you gave birth to your daughter, you wouldn't say san to your daughter. It would most likely either be yobiste, which is when you don't give an honorific, but it's when you're pretty close to someone, you just call them by their first name, or chan, because she's cute and she's a daughter. Sarao comes from the word sarau, which literally means to kidnap, and the conjugation to sarao means to try and to kidnap. Surumono means suru, which means to do, and mono, which kind of means thing. So the first half is the thing that tries to do a kidnap, would be a direct translation. Finally, yurushimasen comes from the word yurusu, which means to forgive, but conjugated to yurushimasen means I won't forgive. So one more time, clearly you could say, Anya-san wo sarao to suru mono wa yurushimasen. I'm not drunk, so it was more clear. Third, Lloyd's rage.
Commander, Tasogare.
So when you push Tasogare too far, that's what you get. First, gama means to persevere or bear. Unlike like persevere in English, it is actually a more common phrase that Japanese people use pretty often. And they say when they're trying to deal with something that's kind of uncomfortable, like gaman shiro would be like a command form. And I think it comes from a little bit like the Eastern Asia or Japanese culture that tends to be a little bit of stoic, so they have to kind of sit and bear and just gaman it out. But when someone pushes you too far, especially if someone pushes Anya too far, I think perseverance is no longer necessary. I think you're allowed to smack a table to kill a mosquito. So then, Tasogare is obviously his names and it means twilight, but specifically it means that hour or that time of the day where the sun just sets and everything turns dark. That instant. If you watched Your Name, the movie, you would realize that kataware doki or kataware is actually just a dialect form of Tasogare, that time period. And if you remember, the doki is means that time period. So in Japanese, most people would just say Tasogare doki and not kataware doki, like Your Name. Then shitsure means excuse me, and ka literally means mosquito, and imashita mono de is kind of like a polite or formal way of saying it's just the fact that it was there. Pretty cool for Tasogare to do that, because if anyone, like I just said, if anyone did that to Anya, I think a necessary retaliation is necessary. Another Anya moment.
Anya 全然気にしてない。
Anya 全然気にしてない. Now, zenzen means not at all. To break down the phrase 気にしてない, it originally comes from the phrase 気にする, which means something is bothering you or you notice something. 気にしてない means I'm not bothered, or it's not something I'm thinking about. If you've been studying Japanese for some time, you gotta notice the kanji or the word ki, and it's used in a lot of phrases like 気にする, Kininaru, kibun ga ii. So you might ask, what exactly is ki? What does it actually mean? Well, it actually means, in traditional Chinese culture and the East Asian cultural sphere, ki, or also ki or chi, in Wade's Giles romance, is believed to be a vital force forming part of any living entity. Straight out of Wikipedia. You're welcome. So basically, it's kind of like that aura or that little bit of energy that you might give off, or any living thing gives off, is kind of actually what it actually means. And obviously, it could come in different forms. That's why it's able to translate in many phrases. But for this situation, Anya is basically saying, I'm not giving any energy in this situation. But I don't give a frick. So anyways, the point is, the ki is used in a lot of different phrases in Japanese, and kini shitenai is one of the popular ones that you could use, which means hey, I'm not bothered. Or kini suru, which means I am bothered, or I noticed it. I know ki is still kind of vague, but now hopefully you kind of got some basic understanding of it.
母手つなぐ？よろしくお願いします。
So, haha, te tsunagu. Haha is a formal way of saying mother, and te means hand, and tsunagu means to connect one thing to another. So basically, let's connect our hands together, but basically just let's hold hands. And here, you might have wondered, why does yoru say yoroshiku onegai shimasu? It's not the way I learned it. This is because yoroshiku onegai shimasu, for those who don't know, is a common phrase in Japanese, and you use it at like end of self-introduction to say, I hope that we have a prolonged, well-established relationship. Or so you thought. I think this situation shows that you could also use it when you participate in a new activity with someone. Like regarding that someone, it's a new thing you're gonna try to do with that person. Now again, yoru is overly polite to Anya, but it kind of makes the situation pretty kawaii, because yoru is, being very formal to Anya, and Anya is cute little girl. So if you go to Japan, and when you're not just the self-introduction, if you're doing a new activity with someone you don't know that word, and you say yoroshiku onegai shimasu, they'll be like, oh wow, it's like that was kind of a cool way you used it. You'll a nice little quirky person, which is, it's good. It's good if you use it right. Maybe, you know what, maybe it might be better not to. Subscribe to join the Nakama to master Japanese and Japanese culture, and peace.